Hi there, it's always a pleasure to come your way on United today. This is our show where we bring you all the updates on Man United, all the updates on transfers, on news that's making rounds on the club here on United today. Something that you might have missed, some details that you might have not gotten any information on, I bring it to you here on United today. If you are new to the channel, please remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We just don't do the podcast, we do United today as well. We have a few things that we bring your way here on this channel, so it's very important that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything that we do. So what am I discussing on United today? Today we've got news and it's all about transfers. Today is all about transfers. Now there are players that are coming in and there are players that are likely to leave the club before the transfer window ends. According to Fabrizio Romano, United are still expected to be very active on the transfer market and not just allow things to be as we see it. So there are still some business that needs to be done between now and the next 12 days till the transfer window closes. Yes, a lot of things will be happening. So I will be sharing with you. There's news on Manuel Ugarte. There's news on Scott McTominay. There's news on Facundo Pellistri. And there's also news on Jadon Sancho. All of this here on United today. Let me make a quick turnaround. When I come back, I'm going to break it down for you so you understand exactly what's happening with regards to all of these transfers. Alright, so if this is your first time watching us on this channel, please remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Let's help grow this community together. The podcast will be coming your way in the course of the week with our guests. If you've not watched our post-match analysis of the game between United and Fulham as well, you can just go through our channel, or I will drop the link below so you can click on it and also enjoy exactly what we discuss. So what's happening? Well, there's news on Manuel Ugarte. Now, it was reported some weeks back by David Onston that United were trying to look at other options because PSG were not ready to lower their demand on the player. They were seeking to recoup every amount of money they had invested in the player a season ago. Now, the narrative kept changing and it got to a point where United were in for Sander Berge. Put that name in the fridge. I have news for you on that. It was part of the names that United were looking at viable options. Sofiane Amrabat was also part of the names of the people that United were looking as viable options in order to get this deal done. However, it looked as if the Ugarte deal didn't go at all. It's still around and United have been. The player is insisting on coming to Manchester United or playing for Manchester United. That's exactly what the player has been insisting. And already United have agreed a deal with the player on personal terms. Now, what was left was agreeing a deal with PSG. So what is happening? So Fabrizio Romano has provided an update on what exactly is happening on this. Now, according to him, United are working on a loan with obligation to buy proposal for Manuel Ugarte. Now, the negotiations are still ongoing between the club and PSG, who are still holding out for the money that they want. Now, the agent of the player, Jorge Mendes, who has already dealt with United on the Lenny Euro deal, is the one who has taken charge of this whole process and is trying to resolve the whole issue. Now, let me give you a quick analysis. PSG have already signed a player to replace Manuel Ugarte in João Neves from Benfica. Luis Enrique, who is the coach of PSG, doesn't fancy Manuel Ugarte anymore. As we said to you last week, the player has been sort of frozen. He's not part of the team. He's not part of any preparations that the team is doing with respect to their league games that they'll be playing. So effectively, he's a surplus to requirement for the club. So they don't want him. They want to sell him. The player is actually on the market. So the player has already agreed a deal with United and is pushing day and night, according to Romano, to join Manchester United. So Jorge Mendes, who is the agent of the player, is trying everything possible to ensure that this deal happens and that United get their money. United, on the other hand, are not willing to pay in excess for the player. Because, in effect, if you are having a player on the market, a player you claim you don't like, they've not said it verbally, but every action indicates that they don't want the player in their camp anymore, or he's not part of the project that they are building. So why are you demanding top dollar? That's the question I ask. Why are you demanding top dollar? United would definitely know of what exactly is happening. As a result of that, would make a specific amount, set a specific amount aside in trying to get a player. And if you don't meet that valuation, United seem to want to move on to other options. But as things stands, according to Romano, there is something on the grounds. There is a way of trying to compromise to get the whole situation resolved, and it is that United and PSG are trying to negotiate a loan with an obligation to buy. I'm sure what will be the sticking point will be how much United will pay for the loan and how much United will pay for the obligation to buy, which probably kicks in next summer. So we'll see how this goes. So Ugarte wants the United move. He's pushing, he's doing everything he can to ensure that this move happens. Now, away from the Ugarte deal, the player who was earmarked as one of the players we would go in for should in case the deal doesn't happen is Sander Berge of Burnley. Now, news that has come indicates that Fulham, who were in need of our player Scott McTominay, have decided to drop their interest and have gone to sign or have gone into make a deal and have got that deal accepted for Sander Berge. They are paying 20 million plus 5 million add-ons for Sander Berge. Have you seen the poker Fulham is trying to play? We wanted to get that money and make an investment, probably in Sander Berge or Ugarte. They decided not to bring us the money, but they have gone in for the targets that we also had on our list. And that's the poker that. So as things stands, the Fulham to Scott McTominay to Fulham deal is off. The indication was that the player was not so keen on a move. And United, according to sources, are happy to keep Scott McTominay. I know a lot of you fans are not. And there are fans who also want. But United are not keen to push Scott McTominay out, according to reports from Sky Sports. And that United would be happy to keep. And Erik ten Hag is also happy to keep Scott McTominay because he really likes and rates the player. As a squad player, to be part and around, to be in and around the team. So Sander Berge is currently on his way to Fulham. So Fulham have decided to move on from Scott McTominay and have gone in for Sander Berge. But so it looked as if the Scott McTominay deal is over and all. But just before I started this recording, news from Italy, from Alfredo Pedula, he is saying that Scott McTominay has turned down 2 proposals in the last few hours and he's still waiting for Napoli. Now, this is the Napoli dynamic as well. The Napoli dynamic also has it that they are waiting to sell Victor Osimhen to be able to get some cash before they can make the purchase of Scott McTominay. And that's where the situation currently stands. That unless they've been able to sell Victor Osimhen, who is an object of interest to PSG and Chelsea, but it looks as if things haven't gone according to plan with regards to that deal. So Napoli are trying their very best to resolve that issue. Should in case it's resolved, they would have enough funds to come, because their initial proposal was to get Scott McTominay on loan, and the news is that Antonio Conte is insisting on getting Scott McTominay into the fold. So that is how that particular situation is. So Scott McTominay to Napoli hasn't died completely yet. The Fulham one is dead, but it hasn't died completely yet. So those of you who want Scott McTominay out, there is a bit of hoping that the Napoli one happens. So that's where things stands with regards to that. And then on the issue of Victor Lindelof as well, he's gotten injured. It looks as if it's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to get Lindelof out of the club. He has 1 year contract left. By January, he'll be free to negotiate and discuss his contract situation with other clubs and all of that. So it looks as if Victor Lindelof would be staying. According to Fabrizio Romano, it's very likely that Victor Lindelof will be staying. So that's where the situation stands. And also on this, with regards to the outgoings, Facundo Pellistri, as things stands, is close to joining Panathinaikos in Greece. And Panathinaikos, their highest ever player signed was was bought for 8 million euros. And United placed the price tag of 10 million euros on Facundo Pellistri, the same amount we used to buy him. We are just making sure that we are getting our money back. So it is likely that Panathinaikos is going to break their own transfer record to get in Facundo Pellistri to their fold. So that's also another interesting transfer news that we need to keep our eye on. Pedula is also reporting that Juventus have inquired about Jadon Sancho. Now, with the Jadon Sancho situation, it looks as if it's 50-50. It looks as if, or it's 60-40, according to Fabrizio Romano, 60% in favor of the fact that the player is likely to stay, 40% in favor of the fact that the player is likely to leave. So let's keep an eye on that Jadon Sancho situation. And there's the PSG also lurking around to see how things go. So it's not so clear whether he stays or he leaves. So anything at all can happen. We are getting very close to the end of the transfer window, so a lot of deals are likely to get wrapped up around that period. There's normally heavy movement around the very end because players are pushing, they want to get play time and all of that. So all of these things will be resolved. So that's how that's all that I have for you on United today in terms of the transfer. So we'll see what happens with regards to the Manuel Ugarte deal, and then also the deal that has got to do with Scott McTominay and Jadon Sancho and all the other players that are likely to leave. So we'll see how that goes. So in the course of the week, United and Everything Football Podcast will be on, where we'll be dissecting or be looking into the game that will be playing against Brighton with our guests, and also all the other games that will be coming up in the Premier League, and also more of United today because there'll be a lot of news that will be coming. So please remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Please help us. Let's grow this community together. Let's do this together. If you've not joined our FPL, please remember to join. I'll drop the link below so you can just tap on the link and enjoy the FPL. Let's have fun playing it together. I will see you on the next one. Have a great time. Bye-bye.